arriving. Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Oh no, I can't hear you. Hold on.
Oh, you can't hear me? Hold on, that's probably my fault.
No.
One.
And also, let me make sure my mic is up because we don't want any problems. I see you good, but I can't hear you.
You still can't hear me here? No? No? Okay, hold on, I'm gonna fix it. I will fix it. Everybody can see and hear you, but you can't see and hear me. Okay.
Nothing. So, hey, gang. So, we are waiting. We're having technical difficulties as usual, but that's how it goes. So, we have Chaz joining us, and we have Feridon joining us. Let's see.
Anything?
Okay,
Can you hear me?
say something. No.
No? Okay.
I can read lips, but not everybody else can.
I'm gonna go out.
So at least it's not me this time. And you all will let me know if you can't hear me. Usually it's me that has all the technical issues. And sometimes I don't realize I'm having technical issues until I go back and look at the live or try to hear the live or see it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I had some issues there. So, okay, I'm going to try. He's back. Let's see.
No, is it working? Is it working? No? Nothing still?
Okay, hold on. Are you on your phone?
No, I'm on my laptop.
You're on your laptop?
Yeah.
Maybe we should try your phone because I can't hear you. Although I'm on my PC.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear him. Okay, hold on.
You guys can hear me?
My daughter said that she can hear you. So it's me.
So you can't hear me.
Okay, so
I'm leave.
Am I just walking by you at your P.O. box?
You know what? So here's
like
the thing.
10 feet away. No, then I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, and he was like, we're talking about laundry. Like,
yeah, separate your colors. Yeah.
Now, oh, you know what? I think that you guys, hold on just a second.
All right.
One moment.
Is that my podcast? I said, I don't think I'm playing anything. Let's see. Are you playing? I got this playing. Let's see. Nothing here. You still can't hear me. I don't know if Chris is there.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me now?
I can hear you. You know, so real talk. So it wasn't you.
Okay.
What happened was my speaker wasn't all the way in the hole.
Okay.
So I can hear you.
A really weird view. I'm doing something really weird right now. Let me try to square up to the camera here. Try to sit up a bit. Let's see. It's a lot. It's a lot happening. All right. Okay.
So and also we are Feridon is going to join us too. I'm just checking on messages to make sure I didn't miss anything. He's trying to get in. How is he trying to get in? Okay, I don't see how he's trying to get in because did he click on the link? Okay, click on the link. All right, now let me go back and see if he's sitting in the waiting room. Nope.
No.
How
you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Everything is great.
You've been busy, huh?
Been really busy. It's been a couple busy days. I went back on stage for the first time Wednesday in a few years, so that was really cool. Yeah.
How was it?
It was really good. I felt like it was going to be good. It really felt like walking. People say it's like riding a bike. I felt really too comfortable. I felt like walking.
Here I go. What's up, guys?
What's up,
Feridon?
Hey, man. You guys doing all right?
Oh yeah.
Doing good.
Yeah. Sorry for my tardiness.
That's all right. So the gang's on here. So we have Feridon and we have Chaz and we have me and their dads, and that's why I had to have them on here. And they're funny and I like them.
Oh yeah.
So Chaz was just telling us that he's gotten back on stage.
What?
Yeah.
I did. It was good. It was, like I said, it was the first time in a few years. So
yeah, since COVID, right?
Yeah, at least then.
Yeah.
So it was good to hop on, and it felt great, and yeah, it was good. Happy I did it.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah.
Sorry for me moving around. I'm setting stuff down.
You're fine.
Yeah.
So when are you
Yeah.
doing it again?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I gotta get booked again. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see, because what I don't like about the business is I don't like going out and hitting stalking bookers and stalking promoters and other, I don't like that part. And then I don't have to rely on stand up for money like that anymore. So
Yeah.
my
Oh,
motivation
that's
to
good, man.
track down people is a lot lower. But I love going to perform with, my friends who are on the road. So
That's got to be fun. It probably doesn't feel like work because you just playing around.
We took a road trip down to San Diego. It was fun. We did stand up. It was fun. We ate for free. It was great. And then
That's
we rode
great.
back, and it was fun. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. That part is great. It's the business side and people trying to not pay you and people trying to, hustle you out. Like that stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys, so for everybody who doesn't know, because we're talking about Chaz, he wears a few different hats, but one of the hats that he wears he is a stand-up comedian, and so he's also a television writer, for shows, and a director. Am I saying that right? And producer.
I have not directed.
Not directed. You produced.
Yeah.
I think you corrected me last time. So he wears a lot of hats, and so he was just explaining that he's gotten, and we'll get into how that goes hand in hand with your time management too. As was fatherhood, and now Feridon has been busy too because I've been checking you out, doing these shoots. So he's a photographer, and he also makes films for Amazon, right? Amazon.
Yep.
Soon will be Netflix too.
Oh
So
yeah.
I see you've been doing some things in a community with
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So we got a lot going on here now. This is the Richmond International Film Festival this week, and we're so they have a lot of feature films here that so I'm covering the footage and stuff for this event. But yeah, we're back getting ready to start back filming on our superhero film that I'm working on. This is the biggest challenge for me because I said, well, I'm in the film too, but I said, well, nobody's going to believe a superhero that looks like me. So I went through this whole process and lost over 50 pounds. And so I can actually look like a superhero. But yeah, this film.
Because I've been checking that out too. Was that your motivation primarily, or?
Say that one more time. I think my signal was messing up.
So, because I've been watching the change. Was your motivation this role?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
That's that thing that my signal going in and out. Let me see. Can you guys? Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I hear you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Oh, is that my signal doing that?
Hold on,
guys. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
It might be my fan. Oh no, we lost him. See, I have to have a fan nearby these days.
You say you had to have a fan nearby? It's not your fan.
But I wonder if sometimes it makes noise like or something, some kind of noise.
Nah, he's out and about. I don't know much about Richmond, but they clearly are not fair.
I think where he's at too is a lot of buildings. If he's in Richmond, then that's probably not good. But anyway, okay, so Chaz, so how are you doing all this stuff? So now you are, he's back. Let me get him back in here.
Yeah. Woo. All right. I don't know why my phone went out. I'm dead in the heart of Richmond and the signal faded out on me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like I was explaining, so that whole movie, I think a lot of people are anticipating because no local filmmaker has done what I'm doing. So I'm doing my own special effects and everything. And just to give you a brief synopsis of what it's about. So for years, scientists have always had the theory of if humans could unlock more percentage of their brain capacity, they could probably walk through walls and move stuff with their mind. Well, these individuals that's in this movie actually were born with most of their brain, and some of them all of their brain capacity full usage. So it's called Extraordinary Beings. So it puts you in the mind of Marvel, but these beings have different abilities. Not the same ability, but they have different ones that come out at certain times. So it's, I mean, we're excited about it. So
that's exciting. You know, my husband is one of those people who thinks like those scientists.
Yeah.
Where I have to be careful. I'm like, when the kids are around, I'm like, okay.
I thought it was a good idea. I don't know
the idea, but you know,
I don't necessarily think like that. But I wanted to kind of like, I was like, all right, I want to do a superhero film. How can I be different from Marvel or DC? I said, well, you know, like Marvel, they're mutants, right? But these are actually humans who are born this way.
Yeah.
But the kicker to it, they have to eat natural foods. If they eat processed foods or anything like that, it weakens their abilities. So that piece I threw in there to throw a message to kids about, you know, since I'm on this journey now, this health fit journey, about putting the right foods. And some parts of the movie, you'll see some of the characters, especially me, you know, pick up, you know, have a, you know, handful of spinach and, you know, or you'll see throughout the movie characters eating fruit, and that's done on purpose. And then you'll then pick up on, you know, one or two of the characters eating bad, and they get very, very weak. So they become like human when they don't eat natural foods. So I think it's going to be pretty good. And some of our friends and people that I've pitched it to, they say, man, you're going to mess around and Disney going to try to buy that idea from you.
I hope so.
That's a really good, I mean, I'm saying, I do believe a lot of people think like that. Like not
they do. And I feel kind of bad because once they see it, people are going to really think that it's people around here like that, because these people, they're, you know, they're human beings, but you don't know anything about them because they're trying to stay low key. But with any time that, you know, you have something like that as a bad guy, so the government wants to control them, and you know, make a long story short, you know, it's just one of the government officials wants to like take powers from each other to make a super being, if I'm making sense. So you know, with every movie, it's a bad guy. So
right.
What?
Oh yeah.
So okay, so both of you have a lot.
Am I fading again?
A little bit, but I mean, oh, there you go. So, Chaz, on to you. So now we so fatherhood, and wait until you get to the 12s. The 12-year-olds, I thought it was going to be a 13-year-old situation. They know have a problem, you know, with the girls. It's not. It starts earlier than that. You know what I'm saying? But oh wait, there he is. He's
how much earlier are you talking? I'm worried now.
Well, okay, so we're talking about girls and how the crazy kind of starts earlier. All kids are different, and so Haley,
I'm so
Haley
sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on.
There's some stuff going on. There's something going on in crazy land. I don't know what it is, but like Haley, my oldest, didn't give me these kind of issues until a little bit later. But my 12-year-old, my door closed. my 12-year-old makes me think I could possibly catch a case. Like I don't know what's happening. It's like she's so fearless, and I am too, which could be why we kind of clashed a little bit. But I grew up a little bit, you know, old school. I was afraid. I knew like where to stop being fearless for my life.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I knew when if mom mentioned dad, especially, might want to back it up right quick. You know what I mean? Go to my room by myself before I get sent there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just knew when to stop communicating anything because it would go left. But my daughter does not have an off switch or something. Like, I mean, it's terrifying. And oh, I'm sorry. I'm in the moment.
I had one of those moments.
My husband it has a different thing. It's easier for him. Like, you know, like he doesn't have to say things really more than one time. For me, it's a number of times. And then they get frustrated because by the fifth time, like I'm elevated. So I'm not just saying, okay, I need you to brush your teeth. Okay, I need you to, okay, listen. Didn't I say, please come out, brush your teeth? Am I speaking a whole other language that I have that you cannot understand? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But it's like dad could just say, and it just burns me up. He can come in and just say, y'all get up now and brush your teeth.
Right.
So being dads, do you guys go through that? Is it easier or harder? And then some families it's the opposite. You know, the wife, you know what I mean? So, but how for you guys does it work in your families with the kids and some basic direction skills situation?
Yeah. Well, for me, so I have a soon-to-be 14-year-old. I have a 10-year-old, and now I have a 4-month-old. So, so the 14-year-old is a girl.
Yeah.
And the 10-year-olds and the last two are boys. But for me, it's setting those boundaries early in life that letting them know that you don't play. So, for example, my kids know I don't play about school. So they can go to school if they want to act stupid, and they know I'm bringing the wrath of God when they get home. So, and with girls, you mentioned girls will try their mom. You know, it's been some cases where, you know, my daughter, you know, thought she could try my wife, but, you know, we have to, you know, girls go through that because they're growing up, they're going through puberty, you know, their you know, body's changing. Like my daughter's beautiful, getting shapely like her mom. So they, you know, getting a little testy, you know, sometimes I call it test. They want to kind of test the waters and try mom, but they know, without a shadow of a doubt, you know, I believe in whoopings. I believe in spankings. So I tell people, you know, today's parents are scared to kids for whatever reason, but I'm not that person. So, but I haven't had to whoop them since they were little, because now I just give them the look, and they know that look. When I give them that look, they know that's serious business. So, you know.
Oh.
He's right about that look, though. You give a look and your butt starts hurting because you remember all those, whoopings you done got.
Man, and I didn't get very many because that's why. Because just one or two was kind of good enough for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the look, and I knew, it's time to shut up now.
I'm like, oh, these people are crazy. They'll hit a child. This is these people are nuts.
So how about now? How old is your
He's
child?
3.5 now.
Oh, see, okay. See, this is,
my daughter, she is a complete psychopath. She doesn't fear anything. Yeah, she's a complete psychopath. She doesn't understand boundaries of any kind. Like, no, you'd be like, no. She's like, I don't understand. What do you mean by no? Like, why would you?
What is that?
No, that doesn't. And then she'll be like, oh, I don't think you heard me. I said I want a popsicle now. It's like, maybe let me be clear. I've never spanked. I think I might have spanked Izzy's butt once, maybe, when she was screaming at her mom for no reason. Because, you know, these kids they're smarter and they're, you know, they grow up really fast now.
Yeah.
And they're really bright and they understand things. And I don't remember being smart at all at 3, but I go like, yo, she gets it. She understands this stuff. So for her, she just likes to have fun. And the more I take away, it melts. What really worked, we were going out to a restaurant and she was tripping. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm leaving you here. And I closed the door and I left. And she has never acted up since. She's been on ever since then. She's like, I don't want to be left behind. Because I always tell her, hey, get right or get left. I give it the old pimp talk. Better get right or get left. And so she doesn't like not being involved. Like she, you can take something away from her. And also with her, my daughter is this scares me. This scares me right now because I think she's kind of like a crackhead for popsicles, So she wants a popsicle. Yeah, like she'll do anything for a popsicle. So I will make her, and I figure like, hey, if you go to work, you get a paycheck, right? You do what you're supposed to do, you get a paycheck. So that's kind of like how I make it. I'm like, did you do all your chores? And she's like, mm-hmm. Did you brush your teeth? Mm-hmm. Is there? Then we'll go around and we'll do the checks of everything that needs to be done. And I'm like, all right, you earned. But if I tell her like, hey, you get no popsicles today, she's like, no. She'll just have a meltdown, and she'll be like, I'll be good. And so for her, it doesn't take a whole lot right now. But like I said, she's 3.5. I don't have to worry about the the stats and the growing up and the peer pressure from the homies. She doesn't have any other friends that she's being influenced by at the moment. So right now it's pretty easy, but there's a huge difference for sure between how she talks to me, how she talks to her mom, or how many times she listens to me, how many times she listens to me. I don't have to tell her a bunch of stuff, but also I'm like, they'll keep asking her or telling her, and I make Izzy stand on the wall. I'm like, hey man, didn't you hear her say this to you? And it's not a go do it now, blah blah blah. You don't repeat it. I just immediately we go straight to our punishment, and it's like they have to know you're serious immediately, or they will, they'll moms are too nice. Moms are too nice. Moms are way too nice.
I don't know. Like, I'm confused because in my household, I do believe they think I am evil. I think they think, like I'm impossible, but I'm not. And then I start off nice. And then you know what? Feridon said a good point. You start with them early, like what you're doing, Chad. You start off with them early, right? And so I think what I'm running into is something I'm not familiar with. Because we started off fairly, we started off early. And I'm not really a spanker either, only because what I'm used to is I could give a look to Haley. It didn't take much, you know what I'm saying? And that would be it. You know what I mean? And even Alonzo, until crazy enough, she started influencing Alonzo, and she's younger than him, right? It's just crazy. I'm like, you are not in charge here. But
right.
What I did notice is I think it was maybe her 4th grade. It was right before COVID. It was the year before COVID started, or the year before COVID started. Her best friend at the time, sweet little girl. She was African American girl. Not that matters, but I don't know. So and they were both very academic. They were both kind of competitive in that way. And she was a good friend to have around. I don't know if I should be saying this too late, but child. But I just realized, but she was a good, and I love to see that friendship. But then she moved away.
Yeah.
She moved away, and also Adira was still really shy at that point. So when she got her new friend, I'm just saying it was different. Like
we don't like her new friend.
I liked her. She was a good kid, but I'm just saying I don't know if it was. I'll just say this: some things that began to happen afterward never would have happened before. Like little things like she got in trouble for an elf on the shelf. You remember the elf on the shelf?
Like the little thing you put up?
Yeah, so the elf on the shelf, evidently, this is crazy. So one time she took this elf on the shelf to school for something, and that was cool. I think they were showing show and tell or something. And but her new friend evidently talked her into when the class left the room and they stayed behind for some reason, the elf on the shelf destroyed the room, basically. The elf on the shelf didn't just move things. The elf on the shelf destroyed the room. And when the teacher saw it, the kids, meaning my daughter and this nice, sweet new friend, were explaining that we didn't do it. The elf on the shelf. Look, that's not cute. And I had a hard time believing the teacher because, and I felt terrible at first. I mean, now looking back, I feel terrible because I wasn't used to that character from my daughter. And this teacher, who I love so much, had just had my son the year before. So I have to say, and sorry, Miss Boyer, I was in slight disbelief because I was like,
you're like, my child did something this dumb?
Yeah, my daughter, she would never do that. No. And plus, she was very soft spoken, except for, I mean, out in the world, not with us. But I was like, no. And then finally, she kept doing things like that. And she was creating things and selling them in class, like little pencils and stuff. Very creative mind. Honestly, I kind of dig her entrepreneurship. But however, it was not the right time. She was supposed to be.
Time and place.
Yeah, she was distracting the kids. And I was just like, and it does matter who your kids are around. It just does matter. And she's 12, but then I saw the changes happening about 10-ish, and so she's never, and she was always on an honor roll. She's a great student, and her grammar she corrects me, which I know I have a problem with sometimes. However, like she'll say, "Mom, you can't voice text that because you don't have any commas or periods, and a period goes here and a comma goes there. That doesn't make any sense. That makes you look like you don't know what you're saying." 12-year-old, but very smart girl. Yeah. But she got to figure out how to use her power, her special power. You don't use it. Right. So it's just like, I struggle. I mean, I am struggling right now. And I love the fact that she's opened up. She's not the shy girl she once was. I mean, she's soft-spoken still. But I love that her friends that she has, they all love the art that she likes. They're really artistic and they encourage her to do that. But something is missing now. Yeah. Something is missing. And it's almost like I don't have the key to unlock it like I used to anymore. And that's scary.
But man, once you're middle school, high school, your friends become more important than your parents at that point. Like your parents, like you done all you could by 10. You're still there. You're still there to help out. But then who they're around is super heavy influence. And what Haley didn't have to go through, what we didn't have to go through, was how much social media influences stuff, because it's a prank society now. You know what I mean? Like, pranking is a thing to make money from, and TikTok is a thing that influences cats. And you see, like, my daughter, she watches a lot of people on YouTube and whatnot, and we were making a sandwich, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna record her making this sandwich. Mind you, she's 3.5, and she was like, "Hi, this is Izzy, and we're making a sandwich for Papa." And I was like, "Who are you talking to?" I'm like, "This isn't a Brock." And then at the end of it, she was like, "Okay, everybody, bye." And I was like, wow, she's just so influenced by watching all these other shows that she gets when the camera starts. Everybody says, hey, who they are and what they're doing. And this is an episode of such and such, Yeah. And like, it threw me so off because I was like, oh, this is like a normal part of your life. Like, I had to watch cartoons and I had to watch other people do a hosting show, but you're watching people not too much older than her. And the fact that she could do it, I was kind of like, oh man, this is a whole different world. This is a different thing. But I hate the pranking. I hate watching cats do, like, her making stuff is so dope. It's so dope. Yeah. And I think I was a quiet kid until I turned 11, 12, and then I became a class clown like overnight, and then I don't know what it was that made the click, but I was kind of just like, oh, I think I'm funny now, and I want to do that. And I just started, I don't know if you're doing it to be likable, but I was just doing it because it was just in me. I don't know, something clicked, And I've been on that journey ever since. right? So, but also my circle of friends were a bunch of, everybody was the good dudes, and not that no one got in trouble, because that's bound to happen at 12, 13, 14, through high school. You're bound to, man, cats don't really grow up until they hit 28, dudes. You know what I mean? 27. You know, you got to hit that. Oh man, I'm almost 30. What am I doing? And then cats start like getting themselves together.
That's so crazy that you said that, because I just did a speaking engagement now 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about whatever that is you fell in love with when you were little.
Yeah.
Don't lose track of that, because that's it. That really is. If you can just manage to hold on to that,
Absolutely.
that's the thing that you need to be doing.
Right.
So it's so funny that you said that, because we were just talking about that, how so often what we do is we let society, or even our surroundings, our parents, because they're like, well, you have to do the normal thing, you can't
Right.
like what
Right.
you think you can live and doing that, and then we get off track. And so it's tricky. It is a whole new game now with these kids, because I don't want to discourage her creativity. You know what I mean? Because I remember how it feels, and I also know that these kids are so smart, they will figure out how to modernize it. You know what I mean? Like, they will figure it out.
You have a Google. It's not this YouTube. It's not the same. I can do, like, it's just not the same world where, me and my wife, we differ. She's big on school and education. I'm big on education. I'm not big on college or the school system. My education is super important, but the actual go to college, get a degree doesn't mean a whole lot to me, because I didn't do that route, and I think I'm doing all right. I just worked really, really hard at something I wanted to do. So I'm like, I don't think it matters a whole lot anymore, because man, I'm like, you watch these shows, and like Ellen has some girl who had a cookie business. She's 10. I'm like, well, that's crazy. She's a millionaire. Like, these kids are becoming. I watch these kids play with their parents on YouTube, and you look up how much they're worth, and I'm like, off of YouTube videos. I'm like, man, put the books down. You don't need to learn these shapes. You don't need to know these shapes.
A whole different way.
Oh, we're done. We're done learning.
You know what? I'm like that too. It's like it's like you and I are a lot alike in that way. Because in my family with my husband, I'm the artistic thinker, and I used to do. In fact, I talked about this too when I was a little girl, and I don't know if you remember Annie Linda. I don't know, and she's my mom's best friend, but she used to babysit us, and I would have my little cassette recorder and record skits. And I was all the people in the skits. I was Mama Jones, I was Tommy, I was all the people in the skits. And I would play this for these kids, my peers, and I was like, oh, I would just enjoy watching them enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
But it's crazy, because when I watch Adira, she's not watching regular TV. Like, you know what I mean? Like you mentioned, she's not. It's all YouTube. And I'm like, are these people even making money with cartoons anymore? Because I don't think my kid's watching them. Like, she'll watch anime because she's really into that art, but she's not watching TV, and she's so heavily influenced by them, and sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. And so I have to kind of sneak my eye in there and see which is what, so I can kind of help guide her, like, okay, so that's just not realistic. I'm just saying,
I try to get my daughter to watch like Rugrats and stuff I grew up on, and she'll watch cartoons, but they're on YouTube. This is people who make cartoons for YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, man, you got to watch Rugrats. And I'm trying to show her like whatever else, other stuff that I watch. And she's like, I'm going to watch Bluey, or I'm going to watch Wolfoo. And I'm like, who are they? Who
are they?
Who are they? They're only on YouTube. I'm like, this is crazy that this is her source. Their whole networks now. Instagram's a whole network, and YouTube's a whole network, and Facebook's a whole network. And I'm fully about embracing the technology. I'm like, forget all this. I'm like, it's not changing. It's only going to be more. People are watching. People are making TV shows that are NFTs. These things are happening, and they're not changing. They're only going to evolve more.
Right. And now you just have to get yourself ready for it to change. I mean, it was here, and it's not going away. But yeah, like my husband, that's what he's all into school. Like he will, he loves education, and you know, he will do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like you, whereas it's kind of like, oh, education is very important. However, do I need my master's to do what I love and be successful? No, I don't.
Right.
You know, but I want my kids to choose. You know, you can, as long as you choose something, don't choose nothing, we're gonna have a problem. But you know, you got to choose to do something. And so I'm all about, when I watch them now, I try to see what their interests are, and I really want them to kind of hone in on it, because by the time you get done with high school or whatever, you can really have a good understanding of what it is you want to do, and so that you're not like me in my 20s just still trying to figure it out, because I was torn between what I thought I should do and what I really wanted to do.
Right. And I think that's most people, and most people I know who went and got the degree at somewhere in their early 20s don't do anything that they got the degree from at all. They don't haven't followed the field. Also, I don't know a lot of doctors, so maybe they did, you know, but yeah, most of the people I know are always like, dang, dog, I wish I did what you did, and I wish I followed this. And I'm like, yo, it's not too late. You can always still do it. Like, you can do anything from anywhere, but it's still going to take you it takes that time, that 4 to 8 years you would spend being a doctor or something like that. That's the time to put in your career. And I think people feel like they're too old or it's too late now. They're like, oh man, I don't want to do it now, because by that time, I'm like, that time's going to pass anyways, fam.
You might as well, yeah.
That time is going to pass regardless.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you better hop in and start today what you want to do. And only good things are going to happen. You're going to feel better. You're going to, you're going to feel like you got that creative stuff out. You'll feel foolish for wasting so much time. You're like, I should have did this so many years ago, but it's not worth not pursuing your dream because of whatever perception we think we're supposed to do, or we're supposed to be the right thing. And me and my wife talk about that. I can't stand that. I'm like, I'm not doing, I don't dress the way people tell me to. It's like some event was like, oh, you got to wear this. It's like, man, I'm wearing this sweatsuit. This is what I'm wearing, or I won't come.
Like playing.
This is what it is. I'm going to do what I'm comfortable doing, or I don't have to be there. I don't lose any, it was just kind of those, like the more I started settling and being me and, feeling comfortable doing what I wanted to do, like things easier. And if people go like, well, that's just Chaz, that's just the way he is now, and I'm gonna be that grumpy old man, like, what's wrong with this generation? I can't wait. I can't wait to be it.
Yeah. It's so funny. It doesn't, and our kids are paying attention to that. They're watching. Number one, how beautiful is it that your kids get to watch you live out the things you want to do, and you're not like stuck and chained to a desk, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But some of us know what's for us and what's just not for us. So what a gift for your kids to be able to see you, and so now they have a model, Chaz. Now they can say, I can do this, I can do that. And I'm going to have the confidence to decide if I want to do something creative, I can. Well, there's nobody helping me but myself, And
one of my goals, it's a monetary goal, only for the sake of a security net for my daughter, because I want her to be able to quit a job whenever she wants to quit a job. Not because it's hard, but because, we do things because we have to have this money, or we have to pay these bills, or man, even with like a Me Too situation, some people have to stick through it because of like, I gotta see this out, or, where else am I going to work? And they're, people do things because they have to. And I don't want her to do a job because she has to. I want her to find a career that she wants to do and not be stuck because she has to pay this car note, or she has to pay this, this house note, or she's got to stay with some guy because, they got these bills and they got to separate. I want to be able to be like, hey, forget all that. Forget all that. And, you don't have to be stuck somewhere. That's like one of my personal goals, is to make sure that you have options, because I hated working jobs I had to work. So I'm like, man, I gotta pay for gas. Like I can't even do the stuff that I want to do because I still gotta go do this day job that's eating my soul a lot, And if she gets into the entertainment business, great. I just want her to work really hard and see how hard it is. And if she wants to do something else, great. You know, I just want her to be able to find something that's really fun for her to do, and that she wakes up every day and never regrets going to work. You know, because that's where I spend so much time working. So much time working. I spend way more time working than I see my family. I see my coworkers more than I see my family, especially for some stretches of months. I don't see them much at all, but I see these guys every day, and nothing sucks more than working with somebody you can't stand.
Yeah.
You work with somebody you can't stand, you like, hey man, Daryl working on me, I can't stand Daryl. Can't stand Daryl.
Don't get me started on these stories, but yes, that's the worst. That is the worst. And then you gotta do it because you gotta get that paycheck. Oh,
get that paycheck.
That's
you got to, you know, and then things are always gonna happen. A car is gonna break down, something's going to happen. And then once you plan your next move to buy this thing that'll help get you where you want to be, you got to put that money into some car. You know, I was like, it's those things. You're like, you feel like you're in this little rotating place, and it helps to have a good circle of, you know, your friends and people you work with. That circle is so important. It's good to have, and just the ability to be able to not necessarily network, but just connect with other people. You know, to be brave enough to tell people what you want to do and what you're aspiring to do, and see if they'll help out. You know, as they say, a closed mouth don't get fed, but you'll be surprised that, you know, what you ask for, you'll get, you know. So a lot of those things, it's like, you know, it's all like, you don't have to be stuck. You don't have to be in a place you don't want to be, or even, man, the humble beginnings, you starting this show and doing open mics and stuff like that. It's like, you know, there's so many opportunities, and there's so many jobs in fields that people who, you want to be a star basketball player and you might not make it to the NBA. I'm like, there's 50 jobs that are basketball related, that you're in that world. There's so many jobs that are tennis related. There's so many jobs that are acting adjacent, you know? I'm like, there's singing adjacent. Like, there's so many jobs that are in this career field that, you know, that you'll love to go to every day, or you might find a different calling for, you know?
And you don't even, you know, sometimes you don't even have the capacity to imagine it. I think that's a lot of people's situation. They can't even really imagine, well, if I can't be a basketball player, then I'm done.
Right.
But there's so much more.
So much
that
more.
People just don't even have any idea of, because they. I
mean, outside of like front office, you know, like whether there's the scouting, there's the training, there's the the people who do like the massages. I thought about doing that, physical therapy for like sports, you know, medicine. I wanted to do that. I was like, there's so many jobs that keep you so close to the actual sports, because that was my only thing I ever knew besides comedy, was just like sports. I was like, hey, I still want to do something. I wanted to coach. I knew I was either going to coach. A fireman was the only other thing that was outside of that. It was like fireman, coaching, or get into physical medicine, therapy of some sort. But I only wanted to do it if I could do it for like the Pistons or the Lions or something like that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it for some kind of team that I can travel with the teams. Like, you're in that world, you get a ring if you guys win a championship. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's a great gig.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I hope somebody hears it. Yes. Oh man. See,
I was talking about that. I was like, so many gigs.
I kind of did the same thing. Like when so I was always, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but a little bit too shy to be on air. Like, you know what I mean? So instead, I worked as an account executive for like radio stations and for TV stations. And every now and then someone would say, hey, you want to read the news? Or you want to do this spot or whatever. And so I would do it. But my heart had always been, but I was always, what am I going to say? And which is crazy. Nobody believes this. But, you know, I was an introvert and not. You know what I mean? I can't explain
the introvert, extrovert.
Yeah, both, you know. And so it was like, and we know how old I am. It took that long for me to kind of like realize, what am I doing? And, you know, and also it's a skill set that was being built. All these crazy things that I was putting myself through, it all kind of making sense, you know, like doing skits or, you know, I was a kid. Who knew that? Or doing all these things.
Nobody knows how old you are. This is the greatest mystery on earth.
You have to jump in there and do it, you know. But I just, and so one thing I have going for me and my daughter, who I love so much. I love you so much. Come back to me. Come back to me.
Where's she at now? Where's Haley?
Oh, Haley's watching us. Haley is in Michigan. She was. Oh no, she's not. She's in Ohio. I always say.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in Ohio. But big girl, the one we're discussing here, is here somewhere in this household.
That one you want to come back to you?
Yeah, she's doing something. But no, but that one, yeah, come back to me, meaning, where's my, but
my baby again?
Yeah, but I understand and appreciate she's got to grow and change, but I can at least give her, you're watching mommy get through this right now, this time out. And listen, you see me doing this, you can start way earlier than me. Start earlier than me, so that by the time you are me, you can retire from, or whatever.
It's hard to, like, you don't appreciate your parents until you get older, until you become an adult and you pay your own bills, and you don't appreciate your parents until you have kids and you go like, oh man, y'all were going through all this. Y'all were going through, y'all didn't even have the internet and y'all are going through all this, I was like, it's a lot to go through. And I have one, and I was 30 something compared to my parents being in their early 20s, having two. Oh my God. Did you hear a bark by any chance?
Oh, yes.
That is my crazy dog.
I have one too. I'm surprised that he's being good, but
hold on, baby.
Aw.
She's crazy. But yeah, she'll just randomly bark. That was what she does. But yeah, it's like one of those things. I'm just like, I appreciate them so much more to understand that they had to go through a ton of stuff. And in being newlyweds young and having two kids and finding a career, and I guess it's just a lot to have to do. And we never heard anything about mental health. No one went to a therapist, no one did all those things.
Yeah.
It was still super taboo to do all those things. You're just not supposed to. You're just supposed to be fine. Right?
Think about that. And I think because I remember, Chaz, now I'm telling my age, before you were born, when your dad joined the military and met your mom. And he was like my favorite because he was so artistic, and like I remember he would draw all kind of comics. I'm like, whoa, it is amazing. You know what I mean? But same thing for him. He had. It's like you have to do what's expected and not complain and just get done and do the thing, and you'd be fine. You know what I mean? Without any therapist, without any help.
My dad's one of the biggest reasons why I think I went so hard, because that's a guy who had a lot of talent and wanted to be a comic book artist, and then he said he ran out of money to go to school. So he joined the Army, had kids, got married. And he was like, well, I had to put my own goals and dreams behind to do this thing, to work a full-time job. And at times, my dad would go to the post office for 8 hours and then go deliver pizzas. He would just always be working. So when you're a kid, you just think that, oh, dad's not here, or he's missing our games, blah, blah, blah. Then as you get older, you go like, man, you did 8 hours and went and delivered pizzas and got up and went to work the next day. And the humility to go deliver pizzas in our neighborhood. Like, my friends would be like, hey, your dad delivered pizzas to us yesterday. I was like, I hope you gave him a good tip. But like, it was never embarrassing. It was always like, man. But to watch him put his dreams to the side, and I would be like, hey, how's work? And it's like, work sucks. And I was like, man, it's crazy to be a creative person and you can't do it. You have to do this job that's mundane, and you're so much bigger than that. And I think that's a lot of people. It's a lot of people who put their own greatness aside for various reasons. It's different now when you have this internet age. Like now, I would tell my dad, hey man, just draw your stuff and put it on Instagram. Like, draw after work, put it online, and put some hashtags up and do it every day, and somebody will find you. Like things grow and things happen, and people make their own comic books purely online now. Or people have to get these cult followings, but there was no Amazon to have your own comic book from. There was no, those things weren't around. So, it takes a lot to put your own your own dreams aside to watch somebody. I'm gonna let my daughter in so she can be a nut. Okay, because she's not gonna go away. Hold on.
Aww, I want to see.
Say hi. Okay, we'll close the door. Come here. Come here. Don't say what's up. Say hi.
Hi, how are you, beautiful?
How you doing?
Good.
What are you doing?
Just watching on Papa's phone.
Just watching on Papa's phone? Yeah. What are you watching?
Okay.
Wolfoo. Yeah.
Oh.
There we go. This is Izzy. Don't pick your nose now. Not a good time.
Hi, Izzy.
This is our cousin.
Honored
Say
to
hi,
meet
cousin.
you.
That's our cousin.
Cousin.
That's our cousin. That's right. She's our family, huh?
She's like, who's that crazy lady?
Picking up Xavier tomorrow.
We're picking up Xavier tomorrow, my nephew.
Oh, okay. That should be fun.
Yeah.
Are you
Okay,
excited?
you gonna go away now?
No.
You gonna stay right here?
Yeah.
But you're so hot. Okay, turn this down then.
I
Okay.
feel like I should let you be a daddy anyway, because it's 7:53.
She's fine. She's gonna bother me for the next 15.
Papa,
I can't even say 15 years, the rest of my life. Yes.
can you move those?
Yeah. I was like, I get a
Papa,
big
I
dose.
just copy
No,
you.
stop. Okay, Papa's talking.
I just
Isn't
want
she-
to stare at her.
She
Huh?
thinks she's my boss. Like
Well,
we'll be
that's
here.
she's 3. Yeah. I think
work for you.
Adria was daddy's boss and still is, kind of right around her finger. I'm saying.
Like, I don't. Izzy, do I work for you?
Yeah.
Huh?
I do not work for you.
Yes.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't work for you.
Yes. Papa, can you hand me paper and a pencil?
Okay, here you go, kid.
Thank you.
Here, you can draw on this.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, you gotta be quiet, okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Oh, she's so.
She knows when the camera's on. She's like, oh, here we go.
I don't believe it. I think she's just sweet all the time.
She said, "Time to be sweet, right on cue."
I'm sure
Yeah.
she's sweet all the time. Now I feel like I really have to get to California.
Come
I would.
out.
You know what's so funny is, Chaz, I thought about going there for my 50th.
Yeah.
I thought about it, but I was like, I think, speaking of living in my dreams, because I have decided to just go straight out and do this thing. My husband is taking a lot on, and I appreciate that. So, like, now I'm trying to not go crazy, on my 50th.
Yeah.
But man,
He'll be fine. He loves you. He'll be all right.
he is like, oh, okay. I'm ready for a break. But yeah.
Now you could draw now.
Okay, I'll draw now.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. We're drawing Cookie Monster. This is
That's beautiful.
how I spend my days drawing Cookie Monster.
I want you to hang out with Lizzie. I don't feel right.
She did pretty good because by the time she starts barking at the door, I was like, okay, she's bored now. Over there.
She's sweet. I remember that
She
age.
doesn't say excuse me. She'll just start barking. It's like,
You know what's so funny is she's like, you got to hear me. You got to listen.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
3, it wasn't until 3 years old, 4 years old, 5. It wasn't until maybe 7 years old that I almost cried when I noticed their little knuckles and their baby face was changing a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, what happened to the baby? The little cute knuckles. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
And it just goes so fast. I was like, wow.
It does. And it's also a big reason why I didn't go off and do stand-up a lot. I talked to my friends and they're like, bro, I've been gone for a weekend or gone for a week, and they come back and their kids are whole different people.
Yes, color
Yeah.
together.
Okay, we'll color together. You color. I'm talking to our cousin.
Papa, there's a pencil right there.
Okay, I'll grab this one, okay?
Good.
How about that? There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got that one.
Wow,
I told her because she doesn't care what I'm doing ever. She's never like, oh, I see you're working, Father. I'll come back at a more appropriate time. She's never. I was like, you're cute, kid, because I'm like, nobody wants to just look at some. Okay, oh my goodness.
Right, that's Daddyhood. you know, and she's 3. My kids are older, so I can say, you know, like they're 14. And right before I sounded like a crazy lady because the dog was kind of running around and because they get if the dog looks like someone is arguing or fighting, he barks. He doesn't like that. Even if they could just be, you know, like a shove or whatever. And so I heard a lot of commotion. So this is me right before the camera. Hey, get the dog! Shush! I'm online! You know, and then I got it together. But you know, but they're old enough. They're older. Well, you know, they know to. But at 3, same thing. It's like I couldn't use the bathroom. There was no freedom.
No, I have to like leave. Or even when I'm in the bathroom, she'll stick her fingers underneath the door. She's like, "Do you see my fingers?" I'm like, "Yes, I see your fingers." Yeah. Can you hand me? Can you slide me your phone underneath the door? Like here, and she'll just sit outside and she'll watch. And I'll open a door. Like, it'll be quiet. I'll open a door, and I'm like, "You've been sitting here the whole time?" Mm-hmm. It's like, okay. Yeah, like okay. But also, I heard you tell me this is true. I hear little girls. By the time they turn 13 or 14, they leave for a while, and then they come back when they're like in their early 20s.
They do. Absolutely, they do. Yeah. And here's why that I know that there's hope. Because Haley was in boot camp, you know, because she joined the military, and she wrote me this letter that just brought me to tears because you do lose them. You lose them for a minute. They come back. And she wrote in the letter, the long and short of it said how she knows that I probably think that she didn't hear anything that I was trying to teach her, but that she understood the message and she thanked me. And that was enough for me. I'm like, oh.
So we did it.
Yeah, you know, yeah, we're okay. Like, it was just like, oh.
You're funny.
I'm funny. Thank you, Izzy.
So yeah, they do. But you know, but when you're in it, you forget. And so I'm so glad you said that because I maybe needed to hear that, Chaz, on the real. Because right now I'm going through it.
I'm already preparing. She's 3, and I'm always like, she's gonna leave one day. Just be ready. They get it because you know she's my best friend as of now. You know, we hang out every day, and that's my homie. And then, you know, it's gonna be times where she's gonna be tripping, and I know that, you know, some boys will come around, you know, and then I'll do my best to threaten them, right?
Exactly.
Right, and so then you just try to give them, you know, hopefully as much game as you can before they. Because I remember, man, when I was middle school, high school, I'm with my friends all day. After school, I'm with them. You know, weekends, I'm with them all day. And you spend way less time with your parents, way less time with them. You know, you're everywhere. So, and we walk and ride our bikes all around the city.
Yep.
And and this is what we did.
We ride around
all around the park.
Yep.
That's right.
And the playground.
That's right. This is my co-host here. She finishes my thoughts, right?
Yep.
But you know what? You're right. So it's like you have to sew in all you can because you know they won't be spending as much time with you. And that's hard for me to realize and I'm seeing that with, like, in fact, tomorrow she's setting up time for her and her girlfriend to get together because yesterday was the last day of school, but they're going to be connected, you know. So she's like, 1 o'clock or 12, you know. I'm like, I guess, you know, but it's just I remember when she said when she was in kindergarten, I said, so when you grow up, are you going to live far away from me or are you going to live next to me? And that was terrible for me to say. She said, she said, oh, Mommy, I'm going to live right next door. And I was just like, that's right. You're going to live right next door. Although that's probably too much, but you know.
It's funny if you had her sign a contract and you're like, hey, when you were 5, I have it right here in paper. You're going to live close to me.
Right. Now that's not the case.
Okay.
Why work?
No, we can play rock, scissors, paper after, okay? Also, she cheats in rock, scissors, paper. She's a big cheater. She'll wait till after you're done and she'll pick rock, scissors, paper to win.
But this is an eraser.
It's an eraser, that's right. Papa's talking, okay?
You gotta get with you. No, it's 8 o'clock, so we've got 30 minutes. You gotta go.
We're good. She's just gonna sit on me. This is it. She's
so
not gonna leave me
sweet.
alone anyways. Even after we hang up, I'm just gonna have to deal with her. You're silly.
She's so sweet. Oh my, I can't. Now I'm excited about getting there.
Yeah.
And now that my kids are older, like Michael was always great with them. Whenever I would go to Michigan or go to Texas to see Haley when she was in Texas, he's great with them. But now that they're older, I really don't worry at all. Like, they're going to be just fine. It's like they kind of look forward to me leaving. It's like a break. Seriously, they're like, "Oh, mom, she's gone." Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, I used to love when my parents left.
Papa, is it so hot today?
Yeah, it's hot today. It's 105 degrees. It was 105 degrees today out here.
Yeah, Papa, it's 105 degrees.
Yeah.
I don't know what's so hot today.
Is it dry heat then?
Yeah, it's dry because it's bad, but it's not. It doesn't feel searing. Like sometimes out here you're like, oh my god, come on, son. Your face is baking, but today wasn't like that. But it's definitely hot. And then we're on a second floor and it gets humid. My daughter's red. I didn't know how red she was right now. But she turned red and everything. You see your face is red, huh? Yeah. Go ask mama for ice. Try and get her out of here. Go ask mama for some ice, huh? Okay, close the door, okay? Okay, don't pick your butt. Okay, close your door. I know.
She's so sweet. Such a good girl.
What you say?
You're gonna have it. You're gonna have it easy.
You think so?
I think so.
I hope so. I hope
I
don't have to. And then I'm just gonna try to stay close to her and keep it real and as real as I can. And I can't hide too much from her, anyways, because she can find a lot of stuff I say online.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, close the door. Thank you. Mwah. Yeah.
And she's very articulate. She's very
well.
social, because I'm a stranger to her. You know what I mean? She's very social. And I think that makes a big difference too.
Yeah. She only hangs out with adults. She don't hang out with a lot of kids. And but when we go around places and she's with, if we have like a gathering with the friends and stuff like that, like, but you know what does upset me though? When we're out and she says hi to another kid and they don't say hi back, I'm upset. I'm like, hey, you hear my daughter talking to me. It's fine. I don't care if he's 6.
Oh, that's funny.
Go ask Mama or Gigi. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't like when people like ignore her like when other kids do. It drives me nuts. I'm like, she's saying hi to you. You hear her?
Yeah. I mean, there was a little kid. It's so funny. I saw a little toddler, and smaller than your baby. I think maybe they were 2.5, maybe 1. But they were hell bent on making sure that we saw them, and they were like, hi, and I was, of course, I'm a mom, so I'm like, oh, hi,
right.
And my daughter was, who was it? My son, one of my kids was kind of like, and I was like, you better say hi to that baby. All you gotta do is say hi. But I'm like that too, because I'm like, they're learning how to be social now, and you involve yourself in that. It's not hard.
And she's so excited to go to school. I don't want her to go to school. I want her to be homeschooled, but she plays school every day, and she's really excited to go to school. So much so that I was like, all right, she can go. But I'm like, I'm not going to be the nice parent if something happens. I'm not going to go up there and be like, oh, please explain both sides. Like, I'm not being that guy. I'm taking her side off top,
Yeah.
Like, I'm going in there acting ignorant.
Nothing wrong with that. And please continue to do that. And I try to do that for my son. So my son is, so he very smart, but he's high functioning autistic and he gets misunderstood a lot, And so I'm up there and I feel so bad. I feel so bad for the school administration at the beginning of the school year that I pretty much let them know up top, I'm sorry, I will be calling and I will be making sure all is well. And this is how he communicates. And if there's an issue, call me. And if there's not an issue and you don't call me, and then there is an issue later, we're gonna have a problem. So you know what I mean? So but it's probably, I'm gonna always be that way.
Yeah, and I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna be like, did I overreact? I'm like, no. I came in knowing I was gonna overreact. I came in I planned this out since she was born, you know. I was like, I'm not playing with these people. And you know what? Honestly, I'm a little hesitant to even sit into school because I don't feel like schools protect these kids. You know, I don't think there's enough effort to, especially with public schools, especially with our law enforcement. This is not enough effort to protect these kids, like at all. Like, I'm like, how many times you got to see some stuff go down? You know, like it's.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother thing we didn't have to deal with.
It's a whole other thing you deal with. But I do think that it takes a group of parents to volunteer to take shifts to, you know, it's going to take more than a couple to protect your own kids at these schools. And because, you know, every school will say they don't have enough money. Everybody will say it. But I'm like, it's just going to take some parents to just forget the school system, forget the government. You just got to do it on your own. Like most Americans have always done. You know, you got to do it on your own. And you just got to protect cats yourself, because it just doesn't. I don't feel the care for school systems. I don't feel the sense of urgency. I don't see these school boards shutting down, saying that we need to do something. You know, there's nothing happening where I feel like, okay, a change is coming, right? There's no sense of it at all. And I was like, I'd be damned if, you know, we're a part of that, a horrible tragedy that it's not slowing down. I just read something about a few more shootings that happened in the last weekend or something. Like, this stuff is not slowing down at all. There's zero effort.
And not to get too crazy, but especially what's surprising and startling to me, the schools where this is happening, you would think, well, now there will be change.
Right.
But there's still no change. And that's terrifying. Because now what are we waiting on now?
Right.
Because that was our thing. We're like, oh, okay, if this happens to one of their kids, and it's just not moving.
Yeah, you really thought that Sandy Hook was going to be the change of all changes of how we go further. And what's crazy is that Canada banned all like handguns, or they're putting that in motion to do. I was like, Canada even heard about some stuff happening and they made decisions. And it's like, it's crazy. I was talking to a buddy of mine from Canada, and he was talking about how hard it is to get a gun. And a homie from Japan was telling me they have a ridiculous process to get a gun. But I'm like, it seems to work. You know, it seems to work because they hardly have any. Right. Most countries handle it so much better than us. And I'm not on the sense, I own guns. I'm not in the sense of like not having guns in your household, because I think people should, because there's people you can't account for. You want to be able to protect your family. But man, it should be way harder. It's really easy to go get a weapon, and it's too, and especially like California is probably one of the tougher ones, or New York's one of the tougher ones. But and most of these other states, it's so easy to go do something, and there's no checks, and there's no background checks. And I'm like, that's the thing, is like, we really got to police people, and there's zero effort to not take guns out of people's hands, but to, you know, make it harder to get. Like, it should be it should be work.
Yeah. So my husband is a gun owner too, and I struggled with that in my house because I don't put no guns in my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, understanding him, and he's militant. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't say that. He's from the military, the United States military, not militant.
Right.
So I had to kind of, as long as we had some rules set, I had to kind of meet him where he was at. Right. But what is so jacked up is, and I love America because I am American, is that we as a whole, the country, to be such a new country compared to all these other countries, think we know every damn thing.
No, we're a baby. You're right. We're a baby country. We're a baby country.
Yes. Yep. And we just think we know everything, and no one can tell us anything. And here they are having no people get shot up like every day, or locked up, or you know what I mean? It's like or even just be afraid. Ugh. Not just to be a child in America going to a public school, even in a suburban neighborhood.
Right.
But let's not. Oh, see, you got me there. But even just being an African American person driving in a car, and like I have to explain to my autistic son, who is very literal, like, listen, don't ask the officer when he gets to driving age, and I'm terrified for him to drive because he's one of those people that will say he's got this is right, this is wrong. And he won't, and he's not trying to check you. He's saying, I don't understand why you pulled me over. I wasn't driving. I mean, fast at all. So why are you pulling me? So, and I can see where that could maybe be a problem because he may not in that moment have the ability to stop.
I mean, there are unwritten rules that Black people follow, right?
Yeah.
That we're accustomed, that we pass down from generation. There's an unwritten handbook that gets passed down, right, from generation to generation that only we get. And you know, it's funny. I had a friend. We were talking about, he's white. We were talking about having like the talk about being Black and race. And he was like, "Nah, I've never had a talk with my parents about like race." And I was like, "Yeah, y'all never had to do the talk about like be careful when you go on, how you talk to police." He's like, "No, I've never had that talk." And then, man, I'm more cats I asked, like, "No, we've never had those." I was like, "That's crazy." I was like, "What a luxury."
It is. I mean, little things like I tell my kids, and I find myself conflicted, but you know, it's necessary. And I'm like, am I being obsessive? And I think I'm not. But I'll say things like, okay, when we're going to the store, I'm allowed to take your hood off. Just take your hood off. Or little things like, stop touching everything because they're gonna, you know, I don't want them to think
you're stealing, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, just keep your hands to yourself. Like, you know,
I stay in hoodies. I wear hoodies almost all the time, right? So it's really hard for me to, and also I had to like this whole, you know, part of me has the whole F the police thing in the back of my head also, because you shouldn't have to, I shouldn't have to do these things to keep myself safe. But then at the end of the day, America hasn't came that far. And at the end of the day, you know that it only takes one time. It only takes one person one time for our entire lives to change. And I'm not trying to be one of them, right? And it's just one of those things, like it's a hard pill to swallow, but you just, until I don't know if it ever become normal, you know, because I read an article today after the Buffalo shooting with that kid. I read today how there's like a huge influx of white racial groups chatting online using secret codes and all this. And not that they ever went away. It's just easier for them to talk across the world now, right? It's an easier way for them to communicate. And so it's nothing that's ever been gone. We haven't seen less of it. We've seen less reporting of it, but not that there's less. Hey, there's actually 10% less racists like in the world. Like, it's never been a thing, right? Racism gets passed down, and hopefully more, you know, aren't than are. But I was just like reading this article. I was like, oh man, if anything should happen, like, you got to be prepared for people who don't care about your well-being and people who don't care about your life. Like, that's just a reality that, you know, we live in. Unfortunately, it's like it's been around since we got here, and it's still here. No matter how you dress it up, and you know, you color it, and you try to make racism look pretty, and like, it's still super prevalent. And then that kid from Buffalo, he's gonna walk into a prison. He's gonna be treated like a Nazi king. You know what I mean? He's gonna be a prince amongst the prison for what he did, and he's gonna join some white Aryan gang, and he'll be fine. He'll be fine
and alive
and fine and well, and he'll be treated forever like a hero.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just something I'm like, and that's something no matter what. You know, I remember telling my parents that times are different and things have changed when we went to a white high school, and because you know, you don't want man, everybody I'm around is well. I don't want to think everybody's against me, right? And then you meet some really good people who I consider family, right? And so then I remember telling my parents, like, things are different, and then you get older and you see and you experience, and we all see the how many, and it's a good thing with camera phones now. Such a blessing now that we have proof of mistreatment that we haven't been able to record for day one of our arrival, right? The hundreds of years. It's like now you have documents that we can, and forever people's names hopefully won't be forgotten. But it's a shame that we even have to go through it all. But it's just that.
And it's so sad. It's just, even with these cameras that we have, and even though it's proof that these things are happening, they're not slowing down, and people are, it's just kind of like, that's terrifying. But at least we have that now. But I saw something online. I wish I could find it. I don't know who had this post, but it had like the history of America and the and Black people, right? So we got here in the 1800s, right? 1800s, you got 400 years of slavery, right?
Right.
And we didn't really get, forget Juneteenth, because even after Juneteenth, there was still forms of slavery. You know what I mean? There was the I'm having a brain fart. But even after that, we couldn't go to the same school. Things were separate, but equal. You know what I mean? So that was like in the 50s and 60s. So think about how long. Let's think about this. Look at that. So we got all this 400 years of that.
Right. Slavery ended in 1865.
Yep.
And then civil rights was 100 years later in 1960, right? And then, so yeah, it was like you still had a solid 300 plus years of all that before you even got considered civil rights, and that was separate but equal, supposedly. And that was just saying like, well, you guys are here, so here's the bare minimum.
Right.
Here's your bare minimum.
The crazy thing is, America is not really considering. And this is why we all need therapy. I mean, for real. But we're not even considering that the fact that in our minds, we've been in bondage for over 400 years. Over 400 years. We've only recently, this amount of time, been kind of free. You know what I mean? From like the 1960s to what, 2000s? Like, that's not healthy. You know what I mean? But it's just never really been, nobody's really gonna talk about that.
Right.
And, or even really kind of like, seriously, there is an issue here.
And that's not including all the bombings and lynchings.
No.
That's not including the redlining, and that's not including the police brutality and all these other ways that keep us in line or exercising. Like, that's not even the major microaggressions. Those become, after slavery, all those things are considered microaggressions, and they're huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is them being nice. So now that here in 2022, we have these. And I can't say things aren't changing. They're just going really slow of what they should be. Yeah. But because I had just read about some other cops who got off for harassing these two kids, the 19-year-olds in Atlanta or something like that. They were tasering them. These cops just got cleared. And man, you watch this footage and you go like, how was this necessary force? Like, how was this anything? Like, these kids are terrified. There's no one in here instructing them calmly what to do. They're breaking their windows and kicking at them. I'm like, I want to get out of my car either. Like, and they're yelling at them and banging on the glass.
Talk too with their family, so they're terrified.
Right. But I'm like, nothing about that makes me feel secure and safe to get out my vehicle. I might have drove off. I'll take my chances running out. Like, these cats are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things where I'm like, man, eventually, these things will get better. Because they have gotten better.
Yeah.
It's just not going at a speed that it should at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And hopefully, for our children, because it's a different world for them. They get to see things differently. Yeah. I know, watching my daughter and her friends, it's just like it's just different for them. And it just, hopefully it'll continue to, they won't tolerate it. Hopefully the young people will be like, absolutely, that's not normal. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, what do you mean? That's wrong. We will not stand for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm hoping, and because my dad, funny but true, what he says is, girl, I'm on my way out. I'm so glad because all this crap y'all going, I just don't think I can do it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because really, because he'll be 80 coming up next year. So he's seen a lot of stuff, and we experienced as a family. And now he's a CNN addict too. I don't think you should be watching CNN if you get fiery and you're 80 years old, because there's so many things that can happen.
None of that stuff is good.
He should not be. He is addicted.
Religiously.
Yeah, but he's like, for him, it's like deja vu. He's like, it's happening. It's happening again. All right. He said, I'm glad I'm on my way out. And no bones about it. He's like, I'm so glad he said, I feel sorry for y'all.
Ain't that crazy? My man is 80 years old and he's having deja vu of this stuff. You're like, that's crazy.
Yeah. He's like, because in the 70s, it looked like it's going to turn around. 70s, 80s, right? Mm-hmm. And then now, he's like looking at the news at our situation, like, first being stopped by police and all those things that they experienced in the 60s. Right. He's like, it's all happening all over again. He's like, I just hope I'm not here when it gets worse.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But I'm going to let you get to your family.
Okay.
But thank you so much for being with us today. That was fun.
My pleasure. I was rushing. So I was trying to this week's been crazy. So I was trying to cut my hair, hop in real quick. And I'm glad you called because I was like, oh yeah, I'm coming. I was just trying to get it all done last minute. So
it's just me.
That was great. I was like, let me try to get this. I just came from UCLA to pick up my wife from there. So I was like, we had a car go down, so it's in a shop. I'm like, I hate when those things happen. At one point, you're very lucky because you have two vehicles. I'm super blessed. But when one goes down, you're like, oh, this ruins everything. You're like, this ruins. Mm-hmm. So now you got to kind of, run around. And so I'm glad I made it just in time.
I'm glad you made it too. I appreciate it. I didn't know all that. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. I love doing it. I hope to do it again and again and again. I love to do it.
Oh, that was fun.
You didn't have any more questions? You didn't have anything else?
No, I'm leaving you alone because I know the baby over there. Because now my heart is like, I kind of checked out because I knew that baby waiting on you. That baby waiting on you. And you're not about to get me in trouble. I just met her. You're not signing off like that. And she's precious. So good job, Dad and Mom. You guys are doing great.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, I'm gonna end this broadcast. Okay. See the people later in the broadcast.